Little free agent frenzy today as I'm back in town. I'm back. Yes. Let's go. Thanks to Vinny Bonsignor. Let's make sure I thank him. Okay.
Or something you also didn't have in Chicago, a better offensive line. Do it again. Hit the O-line again in the first half. So basically, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know.
Just kind of getting some tweets out. I'll be there in a second, everybody.
Send me to Pittsburgh. And by the way, Rodgers is the quarterback of the Steelers taking on Justin Fields, quarterback of the Jets, is another must-see football game.
3 reasons why you need to jump on Hume's Christmas sale.
Is Twitter down today? I guess something's going on. The stock market's getting obliterated. Wonder why. Wonder why. Yep, there I am. I'm watching. Now I got to share this thing. Yep, there I am. I'm watching. Now I got to share this thing. The stock market's getting obliterated.
Like Fields and Garrett Wilson treated Michigan the last time they actually won that game for Ohio State.
Okay, we're almost there. Clicking on the link.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers high-quality supplies and solutions for.
All right, I think we're good to go. Good to have a nice crowd in here already. Just got back from Florida. Nice little golf trip. Made my connector from Jacksonville to Atlanta by 5 minutes because of weather. Man, every time I go to Florida, coming back, there's always an issue. Travel, weather, delays, but overall, great trip. My son and wife, my youngest son, played 4 rounds of golf with him, which was fun. 24 fraternity brothers, which was nice. Didn't miss much. I missed the Max Crosby extension, but I'll be emceeing his event at Allegiant Stadium this weekend, so that'll be cool. Raiders lose Trayvon Merrick and Robert Spillane. Wow.
As March continues, so
Yep.
is the madness.
So I got to find a way to kind of recap all this stuff right now. Recap everything. And I didn't get a chance to do a Geno Smith show. You know where I stand with Geno. He's good. You know, I'm not raging about Geno. I hope he does well. I think he's a good player. Justin Fields, $40 million to go to the Jets. That's kind of a 1-year tryout for him. All right. Yeah, Spillane hurts, Merrick hurts, but these guys aren't done yet. And there's some good players still out there. We'll see. Can't keep everybody. Like I said, not this group, because this group's just starting. You got to give Brady and Spy Tech, you got to give them time to go draft and free agent. But the fact that this organization has lost so many players and who haven't got to a second contract is staggering. It is staggering for a lot of reasons. I didn't think we'd lose Spillane. I thought we'd lose Merrick maybe because Merrick's going to go to the highest bidder. And Carolina just stepped up massively for him. Man, how do you keep track of all this? NFL Network. NFL.com.
It's the herd. In sports, we often talk about a difference maker. Well, in business, there are difference makers as well. Ford Country in the Valley Auto Mall is one of them. With every new
What website has the best free agency tracker? I think NFL Networks, NFL.com is pretty good.
great service and unbeatable pricing to get game-changing protection exclusively at Ford Country in the Valley Auto Mall. Check them out online at FordCountryHenderson.com.
Tequila Rosario was developed in the relentless.
Be nice to get Dre Greenlaw. He's only 27. I know he's coming off an Achilles, but man, he's a great player.
It's beautiful packaging, and after just one sip, you'll experience how smooth it is. It's the Ferrari of tequila, the single highest.
Javon Holland's still available too, I believe, from Miami. All right, man, let's do this. Today's a really big day. Really big day. All right, man. Spillane is gone. Spillane hurts. Here I see. I'm reading all this. I think the biggest thing coming up is running back. I mean, they got now the running back position is vital. Vital.
Mud and caviar, two words seldomly used together. Hi, this is Brennan, General Manager at Jaguar Land Rover of Las Vegas. The 2025 Range Rover is a vehicle for the world less traveled. No other vehicle offers the seamless blend of
Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. Really, the thing I'll put in the chat here is they were roughly the same price because Geno's getting a new deal. Who would you have loved better, Sam Darnold or Geno? It's a fair question.
Visit us online at jlrlv.com.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything. Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting and pursuing justice for the injured.
Justin
It's
Fields.
a long family heritage that we're
Yeah, Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million, 30 guaranteed. That's a 1-year deal. So he's going to play 1 year. If he's good, he'll get a new contract. If not, they'll move on. And now it comes down to Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers.
Hey everyone, it's Joey from Sky Diamonds in Town Square. We want your business. Look up our reviews. We love our customers and they love us. Rolex, Natural.
Cisco likes, I'm not going to say love, Cisco likes Geno because of Pete. I would agree with that.
The Rich Eisen Show, following the morning tailgate, weekday mornings at 10, here on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLV Las Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle. And he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 20 years.
Open at the 35. Racing to the 20. 10. Touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you, back in Vegas from Florida. And fortunately, I made my connector in Atlanta as they were shutting the door. Yep, we're here. We're back, ready to roll today. Big show. It's NFL free agent frenzy. And, man, the breaking news is flying by. The good and some of the questionable for the Raiders. We'll get into that. I was gone for the Geno Smith move there, but we get to do that today. Trayvon Merrick is gone. Robert Spillane is gone. Two of the premier players on the Raiders defense, but Adam Butler's back. Max Crosby was extended. Geno Smith will be the quarterback of the future for the Silver and Black. That's a whole radio show or two. So everybody today, as I always say, sound off like you got a pair. You got to have an opinion on this. I'm ready to go. Do not wait 30 minutes for me to finish this monologue, which no one can do. 30 minutes. Or 25. I'll give you everything I got. Start lining up now so I can get to you first at 702-365-9200. Thanks to Vinny Bonsignor, who was in for me for 3 days. Really appreciate that. We got a big week coming up. Wednesday, we'll be live from the Raiders headquarters, simulcasting this show on YouTube, which is really the best thing I got going. I love that. We're up and running on YouTube right now. You should be watching the show so you can see my body language about some of these deals at JT the Brick YT. It's free. So everybody's got a YouTube channel or page, so please check that out. And then we got Max Crosby's foundation event coming up this weekend at Allegiant. I'll be the MC for that. How cool is that? They're honoring Mark Davis. And so I got a lot to catch up on here, being gone the last couple of days. But I knew to be back for the start of the free agent frenzy. Justin Fields just agrees to a 2-year, $40 million deal with the Jets, which is basically a 1-year deal. $30 million's guaranteed. He'll play 1 year for the Jets. If he's good, he'll play for a super huge contract if the Jets like him. Sam Darnold, $100 million to go to the Seahawks. Here's a really good question and topic if you want to hit on this. I think this is the bigger one. Geno is going to get a contract extension. because Gino didn't get traded here to play for 1 year. So Gino's the choice. That was vetted from Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly. Gino's the guy. He's going to get new money. And you got to say to yourself, if it's roughly the same money as Sam Darnold, who's younger, who would you like better, Gino or Sam Darnold? It's now water under the bridge. Gino's a little bit older. He's been playing better than Sam Darnold, not last year, but the last couple of years. Gino won a lot of games at Joe Burrow's level the last 3 years. Gino's won a lot more games than a lot of other quarterbacks in this league. Geno Smith has won games and played well at times as a Pro Bowler, played well at times. So you got to look at Gino and say, that's a Pete Carroll move. Pete Carroll's comfortable with Gino. He knows what he has in the building. He knows he's got Aiden O'Connell in the building. The question now becomes, do the Raiders go out in the draft and still take a quarterback at number 6 overall? We all think probably not. Why get Gino if you're going to get Shedeur? But as I've always said, if Shedor's there at number 6 and you don't take him, and it turns out that we didn't get Drake May, we didn't get Jaden Daniels, and Shedeur turns out to be a superstar, he has potential to be a superstar. No doubt about it. So did Jamarcus Russell. It didn't work, but I hope that doesn't happen to Shedeur. Is it too risky to pass on Shedeur at 6? Is it? Or do you want Ashton Genty, the running back? So I'm all over the place to start off the show because I'm good with all of this. You know, for years and years and years, and lately the Raiders haven't played well, I get behind the team. I get behind the coaches and the GMs. I let them do their job. And if they end up getting fired, I do radio shows on them for weeks. There's a brand new regime. I'm completely embedded in behind this regime to take the Raiders to greatness, not take the Raiders to the playoffs. This isn't about the Raiders getting to the playoffs in a year or two. This is about the Raiders setting the foundation to go on runs like not so much Kansas City. I mean, that's once in a generation run, or New England. But do what Baltimore does. You know, do what Green Bay does. Go to the playoffs every year and then take a shot at a Super Bowl here or there. That starts today. A little bit earlier than today, but it roughly starts with the ability to do well in free agency, and then more importantly to me, because the best of the GMs and teams want to build through the draft, they have to nail this draft. They have to get a report card of A or A plus or A minus at a minimum if the Raiders are going to have a good upcoming season. And that's where we start today. And that's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat. We'll be talking about that a lot over March Madness. Man, the Strat has a hidden gem for March Madness. They got the William Hill Sportsbook. They open up one of their viewing areas. If you're looking for a spot to stay here, because hotel rooms are out of control here in Vegas, look at the Strat. I'm telling you, they made the Strat custom. They redid the rooms. They redid everything. If you haven't looked at that, go look at the Strat if you're coming in for the Final Four in the Fraternal Order of the Men of Khaki Pants right around the corner here. That is coming up sooner than later. And they are a proud partner of our show. So today, what hit the Raider Nation the hardest is Robert Spillane, the starting middle linebacker, and Trayvon Merrick are gone. Those are two big losses for the Raiders. But as I said, and I said this more about Merrick, I expected Merrick potentially to be gone because I thought he was going to go to the highest bidder. I thought if a team came around and just said, look, we're just going to go after and overpay him and go give him a certain number, he'd be gone. I was right on that. Spillane, I thought, would have stayed with a Raider-friendly contract option here, but clearly Mike Vrabel, who looked a lot and played a lot like Spillane, he was actually better. They played on better teams. They went out and got him because they need an anchor on that defense with Mike Vrabel. So with all these deals that have gone down earlier today, free agent linebacker Robert Spillane has agreed to a 3-year, $37 million contract with the Patriots. And in 2024, Spillane, who's 29, started in all 17 games for the second straight season. So the Raiders lose their defensive signal caller on a team that is dominated coaching-wise with Pete Carroll and a really good defensive coordinator, in my opinion, a really good one when it comes to the ability to have Patrick Graham there. They got to start from scratch at middle linebacker. Now, we haven't had a middle linebacker like this since Greg Biekert. And Greg Biekert wasn't a Hall of Famer, but a very good player. Robert Spillane ain't going to the Hall of Fame either. Dre Greenlaw is still out there as I hit this show. If you're watching live or you're checking our podcast out down the road, Dre Greenlaw, who's coming off a Achilles injury that he happened here in Vegas in the Super Bowl. He played good at the end of the year. That would be an upgrade from Spillane. I just don't know what the price is and what the Niners are doing and what's going to happen there. That's one of the guys that I believe overall that could be an upgrade for the Raiders if they're trying to figure that out, because the Raiders now don't have to pay for Merrick and Spillane, which is a big chunk of guaranteed money with two guys who have been here. So when I look at what has to happen next, there was a big warning sign when Isaiah Palomal got re-signed at a cheaper price, because I think John Spytek probably realizes a chance that Epps won't be back and Merrick won't be back. And maybe they're working out something with Epps, but Merrick was really the better player when it comes to that group. So those are two guys that are gone. I don't think it's the end of the world type stuff, but Robert Spillane's a player that I really liked a lot, and I wish he would have been here. Trayvon Merrick is the type of player that you just want to build around, and this has nothing to do with this regime. This is the John Spytek regime now, but really the biggest problem with the Raiders recently is the fact that they just can't re-sign players, man. I mean, even the ones they have that are good, they don't re-sign. And I don't think they didn't re-sign these guys because they thought their best years are behind them. Again, I just think the Patriots had an opportunity to look at Spillane, unrestricted free agent. Same thing with Carolina. And Merrigan said, we need that position so badly, overpay for it and go get it. And they did. And you wish those guys well. Remember, what we do differently is we wish these players well when they leave. We don't hate them. They're once a Raider, always a Raider. They played for the team, and we wish them well. But those are significant losses for the Silver and Black. Holland's out there. There's other wide receivers. NFL.com has got a good list of who's available and who's left. And they're updating this. And again, this is one of those shows where you might be faster than me. You might be looking at Twitter as I'm talking on the radio and see a deal come down. We'll clean everything up. But according to NFL.com, the best available free agents left are Josh Sweat, the edge rusher from Philly, Cesarius Ward, 29-year-old corner for the 49ers, Amari Cooper, the wide receiver coming off Buffalo, and Dre Greenlaw, the linebacker, who's 28 years old and a good player. And then Javon Holland, the 25-year-old safety, a big play guy. He hasn't looked the same since his knee injury of 2023. But I think Javon Holland, if possible, could be a slight upgrade from Merrick or just as good there. So the guys are working the deals over in Henderson, and going to try to figure this out. So we'd like to get your reaction on what's happened so far, the priority going forward. Congratulations to Camille Mack, who signed. He got a nice deal coming through. There's other deals that are out there. I mean, there are a lot of deals out here, a tremendous amount of deals that are flying by as I open up the show today. And some of them, I look at the division a lot. I've been studying the division and how do the Chargers get better. They haven't done much. Khalil Mack coming back is a really good player when you look at that. And then you get a vibe out on what's going to happen with some of the other players that are there. I think the Raiders are okay. It's not like Kansas City got noticeably better. Haven't seen much from Denver. Haven't seen much from the Chargers. Breaking news, Josh Sweat and the Cardinals reach an agreement on a 4-year, $76.4 million, including $41 guaranteed. Another Drew Rosenhaus deal. So Josh Sweat goes from Philadelphia and he lands with the Cardinals. So that's the latest deal to go down as we open up the show. What I'd like to do today, because we don't have an opportunity to do this often, is break down the Geno Smith deal and what the Giants, what the Seahawks thought of Geno Smith. And I think the Seahawks and John Snyder basically said, we'd like you to stay here. They lowballed him. Geno said no to the low ball. Raiders came in with Pete Carroll. Obviously, the best fit was the Raiders. Raiders gave him what he liked and an opportunity to play with Pete Carroll. That's it. You're not going to find better analysis than anything on that. It's exactly what happened. Lowballed by Seattle. Raiders come in and sweeten the pot. We don't know what the deal looks like, so the Raiders are going to sweeten the pot on what he could have gotten in Seattle. And now you got Geno Smith going forward, and Geno Smith's the type of player, if he plays well, that means he's got to have a good year. That means he can't go out there and have an average year. The Raiders have a pretty good quarterback. Geno Smith has more regular season wins over the last 3 years. He's got 27 regular season wins. We're looking for wins around here. We need wins. We don't need competitive games anymore. We need wins. Geno's won 27. That's more than Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert at 26. Tua at 25. Brock Purdy, who played on a better team than the Raiders, 23. Dak has won 23. Matthew Stafford, a future Hall of Famer, has won 22. Baker Mayfield, 22. Former Raider quarterback Derek Carr, 20. And Sam Darnold, 18. So Geno, with 27 regular season wins in the last 3 seasons, that's more than Burrow and Herbert. But he played on a better team. And the Seahawks were good. They weren't elite under Geno Smith. So what does Geno have to do when he comes here? He's got to run the ball. The Raiders have to now run the football with aggressive, violent intensity. In order to do that, do they have to take Ashton Jeanty at number 6 overall? Maybe. He's the best running back. There's a couple of really good running backs there. If you don't think the Raiders need a running back in the first round, their first pick, maybe they get a wide receiver. I'm okay with that too. But the Raiders need some weapons now. They got to get some offensive weapons for Geno Smith. You got Brock Bowers, you got Jacoby Myers, you got Trey Tucker. You need a completely new running back room. Have to get it. And that's going to be the priority for me. I've been on the radio Geno Smith's entire career. I was never a great fan of Geno. I was never a guy saying, oh my God, Geno's this or that. Neither were you. Neither were you. So we're all in the same boat. Geno's the quarterback now. I like him better than Jimmy Garoppolo by a lot when he came here, and especially more than Gardner Minshew. And that's what we've been dealing with since Derek Carr left. And he's better, I think, he's better than Derek Carr when it comes to a lot of different categories there. So the Raiders should be, as I told my dad today, fine at quarterback. They're not going to be bad. They're not going to be terrible. They should be fine. But the issue becomes, can Geno play above his ability now? Can Geno do what veteran quarterbacks need to do, which is take his game to a higher level? I think everybody agrees he can. Healthy guy, a durable guy, plays well in big spots. If he cuts down on some interceptions, let me read you this. So I talked to someone completely involved in the Seahawks inside the organization. This is someone who's employed by the Seahawks, who I've known for a while. And I said, give me something good about Geno. And he said, quote, this is a guy inside the Seahawks. Great dude, great arm, doesn't see the field that great, but everyone loves him. Never a bad word. I said, wow, thank you for that. That helps me a lot. So the guy that I trust who's been with the Seahawks over a decade said, never a bad word. Everyone loves him. Awesome guy. That's what Pete's all about. Pete wants guys in here who are going to be team players, leaders in the community, good guys that he can trust. So Geno Smith is that guy. So that's where we stand on that and what's going to happen with the Raiders as they continue to hunt through free agency. We knew that Spillane would be gone. We knew that Merrick could be gone today. Not 100% leaving, but it was going to be a day one deal. It was going to happen today. Where the hell are you Raider fans today? It's NFL free agency. Do you not pay your cell phone bill? Let's wake up. Let's get moving. It's a big day today. It's a big day today, man. I got to whip this place up, get this place moving. You're either happy, you're either thrilled, you're either angry, you're either kind of in no man's land. I just got back from a trip. I'm ready to go. Doesn't take the show 2 hours to warm up. It ends in 2 hours. I got intensity, free agent intensity today. I would like to see the Raiders by the end of tomorrow have a safety and a middle linebacker in here. Because I just don't like the linebackers that the Raiders have brought in over the last couple of years. There's not a linebacker in the building. Believe me, there's not a linebacker in the building that can replace Robert Spillane. So that might be a potential for a trade, the ability to get Greenlaw to go out and get someone else. You know, if you want to get a wide receiver, Chris Godwin, I wanted to get to that. He's gone. Coming off a pretty serious injury. And Godwin would have been nice, but I don't consider Godwin an elite number one. I'd rather find the number one in the draft. I'd rather go get the draft number 1 maybe in the first round if the Raiders want to do that there. But off the top of my head, as we're looking at free agency and this team, I think we're at a point where the Raiders are okay because Max was important to get extended. Let's not forget that. That was huge. Adam Butler's a good player. Now, Adam Butler, who got re-signed at defensive tackle, has got to play defensive tackle. Okay, Christian Wilkins has got to play great. I hope to see Christian Wilkins at Max's event coming up. I want to see this guy. He's got to play elite. He got elite free agent money. So you got 3 guys lined up as we wait for Kuntz and Chason, and we're looking at this deal here. You got 3 starters on the defensive line that got to stay healthy. Max got injured at the end of last year. Wilkins was gone for the whole year. Adam Butler just got rewarded with a nice contract. I think it was a Raider-friendly contract, but a nice one. You got 3 out of the 4 starters who are going to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs that can't come off the field. All right? None of this NASCAR package anymore. If Tyree Wilson's going to make it in this league, he's got to make it this year. He's got to be great. He can't be good. We took him 7th overall in the first round, not 7th overall in the 6th round. Well, hey, maybe it doesn't work. We'll cut him. Tyree Wilson's got to be elite, and he's not. And if he is, and he gets better and better, then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, all right, we got a guy who can play 2 out of the 3 downs. But he hasn't proven that he can do that. And whenever the guy gets a sack, people want to take out an ad in the paper on how great he is. We're past that crap. We need this guy to be elite. Max Crosby's a 4th-round pick. He's one of the highest-paid players ever in the history of the NFL in the 4th round out of Eastern Michigan. Tyree Wilson's got to play like a first-round pick, and then the defensive line set. You got Wilson, Butler, you got Wilkins and Crosby. That's unbelievable. Then you can get a Dre Greenlaw, or you can go out and get someone else if he's still available. But the elite players, we got to get a cornerback. Is Jacorian Bennett going to show up this year and stay healthy? What about some of these young corners we drafted the last 2 years? Are they going to make the team under Spytek? I think the Raiders right now are going through an evaluation process saying, no way. No, we're not bringing him back. No, maybe. And what they're doing is they're making hard decisions. Hard decisions. And I think Adam Butler, as I'm looking at the updates here, all right, Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Those 2 are fighting for maybe the last job with the Giants. Wow. I don't know how the Giants don't fire Joe Shane by the end of today if they don't get a quarterback. So a lot of deals are going down. Hufanga, the safety for Denver, 3 years, $45 million with the Broncos. Adam Schefter just reporting that right now as he comes over. Good player from the 49ers. So deals are going down here. Cameron Bynum agrees to a contract with the Colts, according to Dan Graziano, the safety, who comes over. Yeah, good player there from the Vikings. So free agent frenzy is underway. Sean Salisbury, former quarterback, really good sports talk host in Houston in hour number 2. Other than that, I'm wide open today. I'm giving you guys and gals the opportunity to use the phones and have a voice in the Raider Nation. Okay, I don't care about your text. Some people do. I hope it's great. The tweets are nice to look at. I want to hear from some Raider fans who have the talk and are fired up as me. And we'll get going. Jalen Moore, the Chiefs signed the offensive lineman, 4 seasons with the Niners. He was the backup to Trent Williams. Chiefs are getting going now, also signing former Elijah Mitchell, the running back there. Patriots, Robert Spillane, $37.5 million over 3 years. Significant upgrade there. So we're looking at some other deals. Panthers had a day. The Panthers had a day. I'm telling you, the Carolina Panthers had a hell of a day with their defense. They have upgraded that defense significantly, but they're a bad team. They spent a lot of money. So Carolina is starting to do something interesting. They held on to Bryce Young, right? That was their call. He kind of finally got developed here a little bit. He's okay. But they're building this team on defense. And look at the Patriots and what they're doing. Milton Williams, $26 million defensive tackle. Carlton Davis, $20 million cornerback. Spillane, $12.3 a year at linebacker. The Patriots sent a message on their defensive side of the ball, too. The Raiders got plenty of time left, but good guys are coming off the board. 702-365-9200. Of course, Chris in West Oakland. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, JT. Hey, before I hit the whole Geno Smith thing, I'm with you, man. Losing Spillane hurts. Number one, this is a team that, as I've said for years and years and years, they can't find the football in the secondary. This is a linebacker that's got twice as many interceptions as any Raiders corner or safety the last 2 years. He's very solid, and I'm with you. I wanted to see Spillane with a Greenlaw, with a stud, so maybe he's not your best linebacker, but your second best linebacker, and I think that one could hurt down the road more than people realize, unless they can really get a couple of studs to replace him. Trayvon Merrick, as Raider Mort used to say, just a guy. Guy's been in the league 4 years. He's intercepted 4 passes. 3 of them were overthrown to him like a punt. The guy has 0 ball skills. He's okay in the run game, but JT, you're like me. You watch every single game. Name me a game where Trayvon Merrick's actually made a difference and it's been a game changer. I think the guy's been a big disappointment. And again, a big part of the Raider problem is their safeties can't. What's that?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I thought is their safeties can't find the football. Epps, you know what? Epps hasn't intercepted a pass since October of 21. Goodbye. Get out of here. Find some ball hawks, because the way the NFL is now, JT, on defense, you can't be physical. You can't play the way you used to do. You've got to win the turnover battle, and you've got to find the balls in the air. And until the Raiders get some guys in the safety, 7-12 win teams already. Geno Smith's going to have to come in and triple the Raiders' win total to be on those guys' level. Not saying they can't get close and those other teams don't fight back, but I still would like to see them do like the Falcons did last year. Draft the quarterback at 6. I don't care who it is, because you look at the quarterback teams that brought in and had success. The Rams, when they brought Stafford, they were already a playoff team and been to a Super Bowl. The Buccaneers were an 8-win team when they brought Mayfield in. The Vikings were already a playoff team when they brought Donald in. But the teams that have made huge jumps from worst to first, the Texans. You got the Texans. You got the Redskins last year. They do it with young quarterbacks. I don't want to lock myself into 5 years with Geno Smith and take a chance on passing one of these guys. Do like the Falcons did with Penix. Draft the quarterback. You double down at the most important position. And if one of these guys turns out to be a stud ready, then you know what? That's a great problem to have. But like I said, the Raiders have a bona fide number 1 starter now, better than anybody they've had the last couple of years. At the very least, they're a better football team today going forward than they were last Friday. So again, I would still like to see them go out and get a quarterback, because in this division, you've got 3 great young quarterbacks. All of them are under 30 years old still. I don't know if a 35-year-old journeyman who's pretty good, I don't want to just try to make a wild card every other year, JT. I grew up with Stabler and LaMonica. I want to be a legitimate contender every single year, and I believe to get there, you've got to find that young quarterback that's going to be the face of your franchise and play at an elite level for a decade plus. But that being said, I'm okay with Geno Smith, because I don't think this regime is done making moves yet, and I hope they go out and get some playmakers on the secondary. Free agency's just starting, so I'm not starting the alarms yet. I'm okay with Geno Smith, but I still want a young quarterback. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Chris. Excellent phone call as always. Great leadoff hitter, great cleanup hitter. Chris in West Oakland as we get going here. So when it comes to the decisions of the quarterback, this was a really unique, but like Aaron Rodgers is out of work. Aaron Rodgers is a legend in this league. Russell Wilson doesn't seem to have anybody want to going after him. I don't know if they're waiting for that market to depress a little bit more so the Giants and the Titans can go after Aaron Rodgers. But getting Geno Smith was probably a shrewd move, because imagine the conversations that must have went down between Brady and Spy Tech and Pete Carroll and Mark Davis and everybody before they pulled the trigger on him. I mean, just imagine. These are guys who are all pros at Raiders headquarters going, look, we got to do this deal, because if we don't do it and we don't get who we like in the draft, or we don't like these guys in the draft, what's going to happen? And remember, the Raiders have a backup quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. Aiden's really good. I do this thing every year, a podcast with my podcast partner, Looney. We do the top backup quarterbacks in the league from 1 to 32. And we don't get past 10, because after 10, you can't even pick up who there are. Aiden O'Connell is going to be one of the top 3 backup quarterbacks in football. Good enough to play whenever you need him, could start whenever you need him, has beaten the Chiefs, has beaten the Chargers, beaten Denver. He's good. And he's supposedly working his ass off, breaking down film from what I read with Tom Brady already. He's only going to get better. And he's protected with a rookie contract. So we got the guy. But Chris makes an outstanding point. What do you do if you're the Raiders and Shador's up there at 6? I mean, it's Shador. You're not drafting him for him not to play. And you're going to pay Geno by then. And Geno's was better than, I think, Kirk Cousins. So all indications are you're not going to take a quarterback at 6 because you got Geno. If you didn't get Geno and you got someone like Cousins or whoever it was, even Aaron Rodgers, who I think is better than Geno. I do. Then you could have taken Shador at 6 if he's available. Shador might go 3. This might be a smokescreen. Cam Ward and Shador could be the first 2 out of 3 players taken. We just don't know. So the Raiders got a quarterback because they're playing chess. And early in a chess match, if you get a chance to make a move that's going to help you long-term, you take it, even though you might lose another piece on the edge. And the Raiders lost Spillane and Merrick on the defensive side of the ball, but they got Geno, and they re-signed Max to a long-term extension, and they got Adam Butler. Would I have liked Spillane today? Absolutely. Would I have liked Merrick there? Yes, but Chris has been calling me for 25 years, and he's really sharp as a Raider fan. Like, that's his expertise, and I don't want to sit here and trash players when they leave. But he's right about one thing. The Raiders safeties never make a play. Going back to Anthony Dorsett Jr., okay? Carl Joseph, great guy. Love Carl. Hope he comes out for the Blitnikoff event. We need safeties who are ball hawks, and we try. And if I give me the top 10 Raiders safeties drafted in the last 20 years, you want to talk about a Bermuda Triangle of players that are lost. The goal now for this regime is to draft players who are going to stay on this team. Since the Las Vegas Raiders moved to Las Vegas from Oakland, I can't even count how many players are in here that were drafted high. That's got to end. I'm really focused on the draft. Free agency to me was going to be a bonus. I would hope that the Raiders get out of here today with something figured out at linebacker, because there's not a lot of room left. And if they don't get a linebacker here before you say Eichenberg or someone else or Divine Diablo, no. I'm talking about Greenlaw. I'm talking about Holland in the secondary. I'm talking about some defensive wizard who could come in and play at a high level. But there's a budget, there's money, there's cap space, and they have a big plan in play. The monologue brought to you by Modelo, the #1 beer in America. I was in Florida in St. Augustine for a week. Everywhere where I went, I was having a Modelo. And when they didn't have a Modelo, I didn't have a beer. That's how loyal I am to the #1 beer in America. Modelo, proud partner of the show as we open it up. Want to hear from some fans today. Okay, no excuses today, man. Okay, we got summertime radio coming up in the summer. This isn't the summer. This is the opening of Free Agent Frenzy. 702-365-9200. What is the biggest exciting move that the Raiders have made in the last 3 to 4 days that you think is a game changer or not? At JT the Brick on X, and we are live streaming on YouTube when we never go to break. I talk to the people in the chat as they're there. JT the Brick, YT. We are ready to roll. Yeah, I'm trying to take this all in. Steelers to talk with Aaron Rodgers. What's that? One fucking call on Free Agent Frenzy. This is amazing, man. I should do a podcast 2 hours before the show and just freaking play it, man.
Raider Nation, what's your name?
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat asking about Spillane, and it's not shocking. He's a good dude. He got paid. That's it. That's how this works. Yeah, he's not Spillane played to me like a Pro Bowler. I thought he was a borderline Pro Bowler. Yeah, Pete, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback at #6. I could be wrong. I've been wrong a bunch, but I don't think you sign Geno. I mean, Geno's going to get a contract extension pretty quick here. And then if you end up drafting someone else, you're going to have to cut Geno. You're going to have to cut Geno, not obviously in a year and maybe 2, but Shador's not going to wait 2 years. I mean, Shador, if you get Jackson Dart, now here's what's interesting. You could go get Jackson Dart, but he's another guy that's got to play within the end of the first year. So,
Why don't we play that Rappaport coming back?
yeah, sure. The Raiders have too many holes in their roster to draft a quarterback at number 6 and not play him. I mean, they got to get someone at number 6 who's going to start. Yeah, Starks from Georgia looks like a safety we can get. Well, what's he going to do as a rookie? I mean, we had Merrick, who's a really good player. He's gone. The defense isn't being gutted. Isaiah Palomal was signed. I am concerned about the linebacker position, but I always am. All right, let's check out the best available. Yeah, best available has Dre Greenlaw and Javon Holland.
Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com. Seems like every day another lawyer claims to be Nevada's best. But we know Nevada. Like we know there are 5 species of rattlesnakes here, 6 if you count insurance companies. No one knows Nevada like we do. The Richard Harris Law Firm. Call 444-4444. If you need to sell your house.
Trayvon Merrick, 3 years, $51 million. Holy shit.
In other words, 17 a year.
I've guided my son Jacob through life, from teaching him how to ride a bike to his first day of school. Now we guide our clients through their real estate journey. We ask the right questions to fit your needs.
All right.
Whether you're buying or selling.
Greenlaw tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. My favorite signing so far is, I like that J.C. Horn signing for the Panthers. That's a good player. I like Sam Darnold to Seattle. I mean, I thought there was a chance for this price. The price that Seattle got Sam Darnold for, I think that's a good value. I really do. Holland would be good at safety. That would just lock up the safety room with Isaiah Palomal and Holland. That would work out good.
One call hold and kind of questionable.
JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
So as the Las Vegas Raiders head into free agency with a new coach and a new general manager, they at least know who their quarterback is. Before all this madness started, late on Friday or whenever that was, I don't know, seems like a million years ago, Geno Smith was traded from the Seahawks to the Las Vegas Raiders for the price of a 3rd-round pick. So Geno goes from Seattle, where he wanted a contract extension, wasn't able to agree to terms with the team. I know they had some discussions, really just wasn't able to get on the same page, really wasn't able to get there. He now goes to the Las Vegas Raiders to fill a huge hole there. The Raiders, of course, hold the number 7 overall pick. We'll see if they end up taking a quarterback, but Geno Smith trade, I would say, makes that less likely, maybe far less likely. I would also expect at some point they would try to lock up Geno Smith on a contract extension. All of that to come, but the main thing now, the Raiders finally now do have a quarterback, and the Seahawks need.
Well, it's Ian Rappaport. The only mistake was the Raiders are picking 6, not 7. The Jets are picking 7. And you would think that, they're going to be pretty good. Ian Rappaport said, most likely now the Raiders don't draft a quarterback. I would agree with him. I don't think they need to with Geno Smith and Aiden O'Connell. They don't. And the farther they go from the 1st round down to the 3rd or 4th round to get a quarterback, I almost believe, Bobby, we talked about that. That's disrespectful to Aiden O'Connell. We already got a 4th-round quarterback who plays like a third. We got that already. We don't need another guy like that. So don't tell me you want a quarterback in the 3rd round. You got Aiden O'Connell. That's who that guy is, and he's only going to get better. And Aiden's been through a lot. So the superstar quarterbacks are pretty much done. Aaron Rodgers emerges as the Steelers' quarterback option. 5-12 last season, fewest wins in a full season. He had 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions in a bad year. 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions on a really bad team. So Rodgers is now going to look to make a legacy play. And getting that Pittsburgh job is big because they got DK Metcalf. They got good players on Pittsburgh. So if you end up getting Aaron Rodgers there, and what does that mean for Russell Wilson? Why would you go get Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh when you got Russell Wilson? Unless they just have moved on from Russ and they tried his chemistry for a year and they don't think it's great. Yeah. So Todd comes into the chat and says Dart in the 2nd or 3rd round. Okay. Do you really need Dart in the 2nd or 3rd round? Dart won't be there in the 2nd round. Dart's going to get drafted in the 1st round, in my opinion. So if you want to get Dart, the Raiders would have to trade up to get him. And they would have to give up a draft pick to do that. So that becomes really risky. I think we're good relaxing here for a day or two on the quarterback. I mean, I want to do a Geno Smith show. That's the only window is today. To do Geno Smith, that's today. Do you love the Geno Smith deal? I expect there's a lot of people that are like myself and said, yeah, he's okay. He's a good player. Let's get behind him and hope he's the answer. That's where I stand. You know, you're not seeing me go nuts about Geno, and it's not disrespectful. I've just been on the radio his whole career. All the years he didn't play, all the years he was a backup. Some of the big turnovers and all that. I've seen it all. I've seen everything Geno Smith has done. And I think he's a good player. And I think he's an upgrade for the Raiders. So I'm okay with that. You know, for anybody like what you want to hold me to the firing squad saying that Geno's going to win Super Bowls, I'm not going to do that. But I think with Tom Brady, watching tape with him along with Chip Kelly, he should play his best quarterback going forward. Here's Lester in the Bay Area on the mobile app. Hello, Lester.
JT, hey, thanks for taking the call.
Yep.
Want to chime in regarding this, the moves that we've been making. I like the Geno Smith move. I called in on Friday on Q. I like it that we only gave up that the Jets' 3rd round pick. So I like he's a veteran quarterback. He's improved over the years. He knows what he's doing. He's worked with Pete Carroll. So it's a solid move instead of overpaying for Sam Darnold. So I like the move. However, this is the thing. Spillane, I understood it's most likely Spillane or Moehrig. They were going to go. If not both of them, unfortunately, they're gone. But I was screaming the last year and a half to give Spillane a contract. And the previous regime, they didn't do it. This regime, they didn't do it. I know how it is when it comes to the league and the value of inside linebackers. Some of these, they don't like paying them a lot of money. But now, it's not just that. He knows Patrick Graham's system. He was wearing the green dot. So that's very important. How are we going to replace him? So now I'm thinking right now at the number 6 position, if we have an opportunity to trade down, I think we're going to have to look at trading down, getting more picks, and getting more football players. There's a lot of good football players in the first 3 rounds of this draft. There's a lot of edge players. There's a lot of defensive linemen. So I don't think we have to reach for a running back at 6 at Gianti, as much as I like him. I don't think we have to reach for an offensive lineman. I think we need to look at trading down if we can. Hopefully we do that and add some more great talent to this team.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not adverse to trading down if it's just a little bit. You trade from 6 to 9, you trade from 6 to 11. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that because I think the player that you're going to get there is all right. It's just kind of like the same player, but you're not going to find a better player than Ashton Genty out there. Ashton Genty is a special player. He hits the hole quick. He's a beast. There are a couple other running backs that you can get in the first 2 rounds. But I cannot sit here and look you all in the eye and say, wait for a running back, wait for a quarterback, wait for all that. I can do that with the offensive line. I could say, look, if you want to upgrade a guard and you want to take a guard in the 2nd round, okay, I'm fine with that. What about wide receiver? We got to get a wide receiver 1. I am okay with the fact that they don't have, and I mean this, there's not a lot of great wide receivers coming into this. Some of the other quarterbacks available, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett. When it goes quickly. And Geno Smith is a good guy, great in the community. So was Russell Wilson in Seattle. What's in the water in Seattle? If you go up there, it seems like you're mostly a really good guy that everybody's excited about. We waited for Zamir White. That did not work out. When you look down the list and you try to figure out who you're going to get, you got to get the guys that you fall in love with. And we got time for that with the draft. We're going to know a lot about the draft here after free agency. People are going to start speculating what the Raiders are going to do, what the Raiders can do. But if the Raiders didn't get Geno Smith, and my favorite topic is, who do you like better, Geno Smith or Sam Darnold? Because Sam Darnold, there was a discount to go get Sam Darnold. That wasn't super expensive to get Sam Darnold, who's a lot younger than Geno Smith. But at the time, they didn't know. The Raiders didn't know at that moment if we were going to sit there and see Sam Darnold available. If he ended up staying, what happens if Sam Darnold ended up staying in Minnesota and the Raiders didn't go trade for Geno Smith? And then someone told me, who I really trust a lot, Davante Adams quit on this team. No other way to spin it. You might love Davante or not. I don't know if you know Davante or not. He got rewarded. He went to the Rams. Rams were a good team, and they kept Stafford. But he quit on the Raiders. Quit. He didn't leave the Raiders. He quit on the Raiders. He forced the trade and forced his way out of here. Period. Wasn't the Raiders going, Davante, we'd love to get rid of you. Let me get this straight for you so you understand what happened. Davante Adams wanted to leave after he came here and told everybody he wanted to be a Raider for life. That was not accurate. It might have been true, but don't tell me you want to be a Raider for life and you want to be a Raider. You did not. The first chance Davante had to leave, the first real chance he had to leave, he left on his teammates. Left his teammates when they were going through the beginning of a 10-game losing streak. That's called quitting on your team. No other way to spin that. Period. And I like Davante. I think he's a good guy, great in the community. We got several mutual friends. But that's fact, not fiction. Then we get Davante's replacement in Geno Smith, who reportedly is tremendous in the locker room, great teammate. No one has a bad word to say about him. And you got him for that same pick overall for, a quarterback. So that makes a little bit of sense. I'm good with that. I am shocked Darnold only got $36 million a year. I thought 40 would be the baseline for him, or 45, because quarterbacks now are getting between 50 and 60. So you could have got Darnold in hindsight or Geno roughly around the same price, and that's good enough to put a team out there. When the Raiders break the huddle next year at Allegiant Stadium, week 1 or 2, whenever the first home game is, and they break the huddle on the first play, Geno's going to be in the shotgun with Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Trent Tucker, probably a new running back, right? A wide receiver, far left. They'll be okay. The offensive line is decent. It's not elite, it's decent. Jackson Powers-Johnson, Meredith is a good young player in the league that people like. Dylan Parham can play. Colt Miller's got to be good, got to be really good. He's in the prime of his career, and there's not a lot of left tackles as good as him. He's not the best left tackle, but he's one of the better ones. And then figuring out right tackle again. If we go into the year at right tackle with DJ Glaze and Thayer Mumford as your two choices of right tackle, I don't think that's a great choice. But maybe they're seeing something with DJ Glaze that I haven't seen. I know DJ played well last year, but he was qualified as a rookie playing well, not as a Pro Bowler playing well. Well, man, there's a lot to get to here. We'll get to your phone calls coming up on the other side. We're brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, the original handmade vodka, the best, bar none, the best handmade vodka out there. Order your Tito's on the rocks or any way you like it. Tito's, proud partner of the show. Sean Salisbury is going to join us next hour. Really good quarterback guru. Played well in this league, played well in college, was a legend in Canada. And he's got a big radio show. He joins us next hour. If everybody could hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. There's a lot of people in here. Please hit the like button.
Very many players, as you know, they get drafted by this organization that have signed too many contract extensions. And again, getting out in front of it before these other guys sign, I thought was a great move. And I think it sends a really good message to the team.
Mike at La
Like
Costa
Crosby
Cigars.
said,
I'm good with
well, maybe
Gino.
I can help keep
And I
some
like
of
Pete
the-
Carroll
our
has
free
worked with
agents
him.
home,
Same here
and
for a
maybe even
third
attract
round
some
pick.
other free agents because now they want to go play with him.
Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time.
Okay. East Bay Raider guy. You have to agree with me about Davante Adams. What could you possibly disagree about with what I said about Davante? What did I get a smidgen wrong with on that? Hey, and for this chat, what type of content, more content, do you want to see? And is anybody interested in some subscriber only content? Let me know, because we can do that too here. We're taking the next step up after the draft with the chat and everything we're doing here. Big D says can't draft a quarterback. Oh, not draft a quarterback in the draft. Interesting. Well, how high you want to go, Big D? Stephon Diggs is out there. And Daniel Jones is wallowing in the mire. Javon Holland, where's Dre Greenlaw?
If you see something, say something. This message is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nevada Division of Emergency Management, and your local emergency management.
Hey, Sean, you're going to be leaving off. Give me about 4 more minutes, okay?
Cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters
I
Association.
shall get you leading off. Give me about 4 more minutes.
Hi, Davison here from BetMoneyHoney.com. Would you like to become an educated?
Dave, you're going to be number 2 after this.
How about a library of how games are played, how to make bets, and hot picks of the day?
You got
Join
to
me
both
at
put on
BetMoneyHoney.com.
Okay, thank you.
It's going to be Pete Carroll.
Okay.
It's the most enormous tequila. You'll immediately notice its beautiful packaging, and after just one sip, you'll experience how smooth it is. It's the Ferrari of tequila, the single highest quality. 100% all natural handcrafted Comisario tequilas, blanco, reposado, and añejo. Tequila Comisario, a proud partner of the JT.
My son wants me to live stream me playing a couple holes of golf. I could get good or bad. If I hit him as good as I hit him in Florida, I'd be happy. If I hit him bad, I'll be embarrassed, but we'll figure that out. I don't know who Polk High School kid is, man. I apologize. The kid from Polk High. It's over my head.
Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things.
Hey, Rick, you can go F yourself, or we can ban you from this page if you don't like it. I don't beg or complain about callers. I just remind you when the callers suck. So if you can't handle that, you can jump off this stream and go do whatever you want to do. I'm busy running a show. And no, I'm not going to read text messages on a sports talk show. I think that's the lamest thing out there. People can call me if they want to call me or hit me on X. I'm not reading text messages like some 14-year-old girl. Not that it's bad. I just don't do shit like that. I got into radio to do radio. Right, Bobby? To talk to people, not to read texts. That's not, I didn't get into sports talk radio to read texts. I'll read tweets. And you know how much I've gotten paid off reading texts in my career? That'd be nothing.
He is definitely going to, he's not.
Talk about Brady. Talk about Brady.
What he feels about stuff, and it's always from the mentality of, we're going to keep pushing, we're going to keep striving to get something done in a special manner. And if people don't want to come with us or they can't hang, they're going to fall by the wayside. And it's been really clear. His mentality is strong and clear and obvious. And so I'm thrilled to be part of it, because we share that kind of thinking.
Pete Carroll's saying what he shares about Tom Brady. You're either on board or you're not. So you're not going to love this roster every day. There's going to be some holes or some things I might take 2 years to fill up here. I don't know what to tell you, but they're trying to upgrade the roster here today. A lot of people in my chat at JT the Brick YT. You can do that on YouTube for free. A lot of people are upset at losing both Trayvon Merrick, and they're upset about losing Robert Spillane. I get that. Those are good players. I didn't think we'd lose both, but there's a reason behind it. And both of them, I think, got overpaid. The number that a lot of people didn't think they were worth for both players. So if the Raiders technically wanted to keep Merrick and Spillane and both, they would have had to overpay for both of them, no matter what analytics you looked at. They would have had to overpay for that, and they decided not to do that. Sean in the Bay Area. Thanks for holding, Sean. You're up next.
Hey, I wanted to talk on the Geno Smith trade. What I really liked was the fact that we basically traded Devontae Adams for Geno Smith. You said that the last segment, so you kind of hit on that point. But also our GM, if you follow his track record and his pattern of drafting, we're drafting defensive front seven or offensive linemen these next first two picks that we get. And I can see us maybe getting some of those other players in like rounds 3, 4, and 5. I mean, yeah, I want the receiver from Arizona or I want the running back from Boise State. But if we really look at the grand schemes of things, meat and potatoes is what wins games. And, offensive line, defensive front seven. We got the quarterback for the next 2 years, got AOC right there. And you never know. Maybe we get the kid from Ohio State and develop him over time as well.
Why develop the kid from Ohio State and not develop Aiden O'Connell? I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. Unless Chip Kelly thinks he's really great in the 3rd round or 4th round, I would agree with you. But we don't have to develop another guy unless the other guy could be a star in this league. We want to develop a superstar. Shedeur Sanders could be a superstar. So if we park him like Michael Penix, and maybe he turns out to be elite, that's something that can redefine a franchise. I doubt that's coming now with Geno.
I like it too. That's a good point. I'm just kind of going off the GM's track record.
Yeah.
I don't want to sip too much of that Kool-Aid going, oh yeah, we're going to get Shedeur, and then have my heart
Right.
break again on draft day. So I'm just kind of being realistic. And if we're finding the pattern of our GM who's doing a great job already, the meat and potato players is what he's looking at, I think, in round 1 and 2. Just my take, JT.
Got it. Yeah, your opinion means a lot to me on this. I think it's very intriguing on what happens with Shedeur now. The last thing I would want to see now, for me at least, is Shedeur dropping to 6 to the Raiders. And the Raiders going, oh, my God, we could have got Shedeur. We didn't need Geno. We got Shedeur. We didn't need Geno. We could have had Aiden play and then Shedeur start relatively quickly if he's that good. But that's probably not going to happen now. And I'm all right with that. I just want a quarterback that gives the Raiders a better chance to win. And Geno's able to do that. Dave's in Vegas on 920, wrapping up the hour. Hello, Dave.
Hey, JT, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
For having me. Real quick, about the Geno trade. The only thing that concerns me is I know you said, Darnold for about 110. Rappaport and a couple other Garoppolo are saying 3 years close to 100 million, so maybe even cheaper than what we'll figure out which one was right and which one was wrong. But it may even be 33 million a year for Darnold, and Seahawks got a third. So if he kind of replicates what happened in Minnesota, Schneider may come out looking like a genius here. And I have no problem with Geno Smith. Let me get that right off the bat. My question is, do I know or do I think he's going to be the guy to get the Raiders over the hump? That's debatable, right? What I don't want to see them do, and this is personal, is, or I should say personally, wrap up, $45 million a year into an extension of Geno Smith. That would worry me a little bit, particularly if Sam Darnold is only getting $33 million a year. So that would be my concern. It's not my money. I'm not counting other people's money, but I'm a fan of the team, and I want the team to be able to build as good of a roster as possible. And if you divert X amount of money to your quarterback, well, that leaves less to go everywhere else. And the last thing on free agency here, we all knew that there are holes that need to be fixed on this roster, and now with Merrick and Spillane gone, I mean, we got 2 massive holes.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So I know that Spytek has talked about being prudent, and he likes to build the draft, and that's excellent. We all agree with that. But I do want to see 1 or 2 everyone calls them splash signings to fill a couple huge holes that we have now on this roster because, we were 4-13. We're playing catch up.
Yep, you're right about that.
We need some good guys on this roster. They're not all going to come.
I agree with you, and I trust Spytek in his first draft coming up here and in free agency. They're not going to overpay for anybody. They got a lot of smart people in that room who are judging the money, and they have money for good players. They're not going to overpay. But is it shocking? I wouldn't use shocking, but I'm kind of a little bit miffed by losing Merrick and Spillane. And I think we lose both of them today. I thought we'd lose one most likely, and the Raiders are going to have to react and make something happen. Back for round number 2.
The Big West is back.
All right, good group here today. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay with this all day today. We're going to keep this going. Doing another 3 hours tonight on Mad Dog. We'll do a live stream at 7 p.m. Pacific. Get some water. I'll be right back. Pull them all. Going to be a dog. All right. I like that. Okay. Yeah, Javon Holland's dropping like a rock. Maybe negotiation wise, the price has fallen on him, and the Raiders might get him a little bit cheaper.
Lab diamonds, sapphires, rubies, everything you can want in one store. We won't be beat on price or customer satisfaction. Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM, the home of Raider Nation.
This is JT from Las Vegas's premier cigar lounge, La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. You're going to be blown away like I was when I stepped into their walk-in humidor. Over 500 cigar labels to choose from. Plus, they feature one of the largest whiskey, scotch, and bourbon selections anywhere in the valley with live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at LaCasaCigars.com.
You know, a lot of lawyers who advertise here don't even live here. If they say Nevada, they're not from around here. If they think our capital is Las Vegas, they're not from around here. I'm Richard Harris, and I am from Nevada. I grew up here, I went to school here, I raised my family here. No one knows Nevada like we do. If you've been injured, call me, Richard Harris, of the Richard Harris Law Firm, 444-4444, just in case.
Tito's homemade vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. From a seat in the stands to the best seat on the couch, root for your favorite team with your favorite team spirit. No matter who's on your roster, lineup, or lucky jersey, make Tito's your first-round bottle pick. Whose house? Tito's house. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, APA, craft, and be savored responsibly.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews. They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away. Indeed you do. When you sponsor
Hey, Jim, where are you from again?
it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire.
Hello?
Visit Indeed.com/.
Jim, where are you from again?
$5 towards your first sponsored job.
Where are you from, Jim? Cool.
Vegas, and for the truck, we always offer
All right. Hour number 2, man. 2 hours on radio is a lot easier than 4 or 5 or 3. So we'll go big. Sam Darnold, $55 million only guaranteed on that deal. And I think we could all say that the Vikings didn't want Sam Darnold. $55 million guaranteed. Tunsil to the Commanders.
Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
I'm happy so many people like Gino here.
Well, because he's a legitimate quarterback. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously this guy can complete a pass. It's a step. That's what they're looking for.
In Summerlin, on the Strip at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on South Rainbow, and Green Valley on Southeastern Avenue.
This time of year means college basketball.
All right, man. It's been crazy so far.
One call holding.
To the JT
Okay.
Brick Show, brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Philly Cadillac Performance Studio.
And he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35. Racing to the 20. 10. Touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
JT back with you as we are rolling on. We are locked and loaded here, and we got some breaking news coming up here, so I'll get to all of it. Laramie Tunsil, the Texans are trading 5-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders for a package of picks that are out there now. So we are looking at some other moves that are popping up here right now, and most of the insiders that I look at are pretty reliable. So here we go, hour number 2. Breaking free agent safety. Jeremy Chin is signing with the Raiders on a 2-year deal worth over $16 million, including over 75% fully guaranteed. A major addition to the Las Vegas secondary. That comes from Jordan Schultz 1 minute ago. So that's why you listen to me. I don't get them all within a minute, but that one, Jordan Schultz, free agent safety, Jeremy Chin is signing with the Raiders on a 2-year deal worth over $16 million, including 75% fully guaranteed there. So we're going to have to dive into his impact of all of that. And he is a 6'3" box safety. And that's a good move with Isaiah Palomal. We'll see what happens for the Raiders. So they bring in another one. He's bigger and can defend the run. And, even if it only fills a bit of a hole here, a good player. And that's a solid move from a good team also coming over from the Commanders. So that is the breaking news. We should get more confirmation on that. And we want everybody to enjoy what we're doing here. If you want to watch the show, JT the Brick YT on YouTube, that's where we are streaming for free. It's good to have around here, Bobby, in case the internet goes down. You can watch us here. We don't have everything smooth on that for Vinny. Did Vinny have pretty good shows?
Yeah.
Good to hear that. Thanks again to Vinny Bonsignor, who stepped in for me while I was away. Had a nice trip. I was in St. Augustine, Florida, 24 of my fraternity brothers in a golf tournament. We played 4 rounds in 3 days. My youngest son played with me, which was great. He played really well. It was good to play with my sons. And that's really a cool thing for me, hanging out with guys that I've known for close to 40 years, some of these guys. And several brought their sons, and we incorporated into our golf tournament. So had a great time. Unbelievable time there. Just made it home in time for the show because, God, cannot believe I'm flying an airline last night, and they're delayed on the ground in Jacksonville for a good, I'd say 70 minutes. It was raining sideways. When you take off in a rainstorm, better thank those pilots, man. Because the pilots can say, look, I'm not taking off in this stuff. I mean, we'll wait. Planes fly in the rain all the time. But this was like, sheets of rain. We take off trying to get from Jacksonville to Atlanta. And then we got to Atlanta, and then we had a race to catch our gate. And we just got there as they were closing the door. And my wife and my son mock me and make fun of me all the time at airports because I'm not easy to be with at an airport.
No way.
Yeah, I got to get over that. But the point was, if they would have shut those doors while we were there, and they knew we were there, and they knew we were connected, I would have been disappointed. So we got home pretty late last night, and good to see our dog and to be back. And I'll be here for a couple of weeks, and then I go on the Raider cruise. The Raider cruise is coming up, and I know many people are going to be cruising with the Raiders on the Norwegian Bliss coming up. Excited. I've never been on a cruise. I've been on a booze cruise in Jamaica that just went like 200 yards more. Yeah. But I've never been on a cruise, and this one's going to be really good. So I'm excited about that. 15 Raider alumni coming up. Other housekeeping update. I'll be hosting this show Thursday from the Mountain West over at Thomas and Mack. So I'm excited about that when we get out of here and do that. And then the Max Crosby event is coming up here, and I'll be emceeing that at Allegiant Stadium. That's a big deal for me because Max chose me to do it for the first 2 years. This is year 2, and it will honor Mark Davis, and it'll be at Allegiant Stadium. And last year we did it at the UFC Octagon, in the Octagon at the UFC headquarters, and it was really cool because Dana White was there. Dana spent a lot of money, and made the night really cool. So that'll be for the Max Crosby Foundation coming up. And then the last thing that we have, which is really cool, is that we'll do the show Wednesday. It'll be our free agent kind of wrap-up show from the Raiders headquarters. And that'll be on Wednesday, and hopefully we got some nice surprises for you on that. This hour brought to you by La Casa Cigars. If you're looking for a great place, I brought several of my La Casa cigars with us down to St. Augustine and shared them with others, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun overall we had a really good time. So free agency, Jeremy Chin to Vegas. Chin is 6'3", 220, is a hybrid safety linebacker, and the 64th pick in 2020. So this is going to be a player, he's best in run support and is a Swiss Army knife, according to free agency softy. 2024 stats. So last year, everybody, for the Raiders' new safety, 117 tackles, an interception, 77.1 tracking grade. That's 16th out of 66. So that's your safety. That's your starter. Jeremy Chin, your starter in the backfield, most likely with Isaiah Palomal. If you look at the numbers on that and you want to debate the numbers, feel free to do that. So that's a big addition for the Raiders today. The Raiders got their safety in free agency. It's done. Jeremy Chin comes in and he will be your starting safety and be in there. And I love the fact that he's a little bit bigger and stronger and come down in space here. So we'll see what happens there. Open lines for you. Sean Salisbury at the bottom of the hour on the quarterbacks in free agency. Josh Allen got the largest contract in NFL history. And Sam Darnold, 3 years, $100.5 million, only $55 million of it guaranteed. Wow. What is that all about? So this is interesting to me, proving that the Vikings did not want Sam Darnold. They did not want him. And they franchise tagged him for some pick compensation coming back, but that is fascinating to me. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here, but wow, Sam Darnold was available. Raiders ended up getting Geno Smith. I like Geno, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't like Geno more than I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Sam Darnold probably the same amount, maybe a little bit more. Russell Wilson last year I loved more than Geno this year. But Geno fits in well with Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll's got a leader in the locker room. When the locker room door closes and Pete, goes in there and he knows he's got Max Crosby and Geno Smith, that's important to the Raiders and where they're trying to get this franchise. 702-365-9200. What is your biggest excitement and your biggest concern so far in Raider free agency? We'd love to hear what you have to say on that. Here's Jim in Seattle in the 206. Hello, Jim.
Hey, how you doing, JT?
Good, Jim.
Oh, good. So here's my thought. First of all, with the previous callers, why would you go out and get a third rounder? Hey, just look at what Pete Carroll did with the Seahawks when he was here earlier. Not that he's going to do it going forward, but they had Tavares Jackson with the Seahawks. They went out and got Matt Flynn, and then they drafted a third rounder in Russell Wilson. And look what happened. Competition played the game. And I think that's what's going to happen here with the Raiders. And I think if they go out and get a second or third rounder, I think better a third rounder, go out and get that kid that won the national championship, that worked with the offensive coordinator. Yep. I mean, I think that'd be a good choice. Go out and get Mason Graham out of Michigan. That guy's a baller. Go out and get him. If Shedeur falls to you at 6, there's a choice. And, they make it or they don't. It depends on what their intelligence is telling them. And I defer to them. They're making great decisions, JT. They're making great decisions. And then Jeremy Chin, damn it, that guy's great. He's awesome. He brings the heat, JT. He brings the heat. I like a Saluki. I mean, come on. That's awesome.
Good. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, he's a hard hitter, and that's a good pick. Look, you can still make trades here. Diana Racina reporting the Texans are trading Pro Bowl tackle Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. Listen to this. Washington receives – this is an unbelievable trade. They get Laramie Tunsil. This is crazy on the compensation coming back to Houston. Houston gets a 2025, that year, third-round pick, a 2025 seventh, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2026 fourth-round pick. So that's one of the best left tackles in football, traded for 4 significant draft picks that are going to spare out for the next 2 years. So the Raiders can do trades like that, too, if they want to do it. That's a big one. That is more than a package of picks. 702-365-9200 if you want to get in directly on X at JT the Brick. But, man, there's a lot of action happening here in the last 10 minutes. And we'll keep you up to date on what Adam Schefter. I just keep an eye on Schefter, Jordan Schultz, and Ian Rappaport. Those are the 3 guys. Plus our Raiders insiders when there's Raider news. Vinny Bonsignor, Deshaun Reed, Bill Williamson, Vic Tafer. There's a lot of good insiders there that we rely on if they get breaking news. But the national guys usually get the news first. They usually get that news first. And after they get that, they roll with it and everybody confirms it. That's what most of the insiders do. They confirm what everybody else is saying here. But Jeremy Chin, this hour is the big move for the Raiders as they have a starting safety, Mike Garafolo. The Raiders have agreed to terms with safety Jeremy Chin on a 2-year deal for over $16 million, over 75% of the deal guaranteed at the signing, according to sources. That source was Jordan Schultz, who had that first. So that's a big one there as we continue on. Believe me, I'm here all day today, people, for another hour if you want to get through on this. And what you like, the Raiders got at it today, but Adam Butler at defensive tackle, re-signed Jeremy Chin at safety. That's about it. And they had Geno Smith before, which was really important. Here's Ray in Vegas on 9:20 a.m. Hello, Ray.
Hey, JT.
Hey, Ray.
I'm excited that we have a competent NFL quarterback now, and I'm a little concerned about us, what we're going to do with that other receiver slot.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need at least a decent 2 if we're going to make Brock. Brock is going to be our first option, obviously, but we're going to need. We have one number 2. Jacoby's a number 2. We need another good, solid number 2, or maybe a 1B type of receiver.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to be able to get out of that. They have to get a number 1 in the first 2 rounds, and that's kind of hard to do. Like some years you have like 4 or 5 wide receivers going in the first round. I think there's probably going to be 3 here. And I don't know. I think it might be too rich for the Raiders to go number 6 overall with the wide receiver position. That's usually pretty high.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate the call. Whatever they want to do here, if they decide that they're going to go out and, this wide receiver ranking, because there's some good ones. T. McMillan out of Arizona is the best one, period. And he's a top 10 player. So their wide receiver at number 6, it's going to be T. McMillan, 6'4", out of Arizona. He's an absolute freak. That's the guy. Want the wide receiver 1, go get him and just wish everybody else good luck and move on from him. And then there's some good ones. Ekabuka from wide receiver, the wide receiver from Ohio State with Chip Kelly could also go pretty high in the first round. But I don't know. Once you get past the 50th, 60th pick in the draft, I don't know how these guys are going to play out. I'd like to see a big one. This Jaden Higgins out of Ohio State, 215. That's another big guy. Whoever should be wide receiver number 1, I think it's got to be a tall, strong player who can go up and get the ball. Luther Burden's probably the second best wide receiver out of Missouri. He's 6 foot 205. And let's not forget Travis Hunter. I mean, where's Travis Hunter going to drop down in the first round? And Shador, both out of Colorado. We will see. Today, to me, someone was asking me who are the winners of today. I'd say the first winner, probably Carolina. What they were able to do on defense, they've done a pretty good job. And I think the Chiefs are sneaky quiet, and the Bears loaded up on their offensive line. The Bears brought in 3 starting offensive linemen throughout free agency here. They're pretty active. And the active move for the Bears is to set up that offensive line to protect their young quarterback in Caleb Williams. So with all of the moves that are being made today, if the Raiders didn't do anything, I think everybody would be upset. I think there are some fans in the Raider Nation who are upset that Trayvon Merrick has gone along with Robert Spillane. Tell you, the first time I met Robert Spillane was after he was drafted. After they were drafted, they brought in the rookies and their parents, and they came in and we did an event at M Resort, a private event, with a couple of alumni. And Robert Spillane was just sitting there, standing off the bar by himself, and I went up and introduced him myself. And I talked to him for 5 minutes, and I go, "Can you wait here a second?" Because the alumni were there. I went and got Phil Villapiano, and he's wearing the same number.
I remember that.
And I walked over to Phil. I said, "Phil, have you met Robert Spillane?" He said, "No. Oh, JT, I'd love to meet this guy." Really? I walked him over. Those guys talked for 15 minutes. And I was like, man, this Robert Spillane's got a chance. Phil loves him. They love him here. And he turned out to be a very good player. That's a guy I look forward to seeing years from now and saying thank you for your time with the Raiders. But he got an offer he couldn't refuse. What's the agent going to do when the Patriots come calling with that much guaranteed money? They probably called the Raiders and said, "This is what we got. Do you want to match it or go higher?" And if the Raiders said, "We can't do it," they can't do it. And the same thing with Trayvon Merrick, who got a monster deal from Carolina. And Carolina's been a pretty bad team, even though they beat the Raiders last year. That hurt when the Red Rifle came in, Andy Dalton. But that is not a great team, and Carolina is looking to rebuild their defense via players like Trayvon Merrick, who are young players that you can put there. So the Merrick deal coming over from David Newton from ESPN, Carolina filled the need at safety that could help tighten up the league's worst run defense, agreeing to a 3-year deal, $51 million, with Trayvon Merrick. He will fill the void of Xavier Woods, who was not re-signed after the season. Merrick is coming up the best season of his career. The 25-year-old started in every game for the second straight season for the Raiders and posted career highs in tackles, 104, and pass defended in 10. Yeah, so Merrick's gone, but the Raiders bring in Jeremy Chin to go along with Isaiah Palomal. The season started today with Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Palomal, maybe Epps back. They draft someone, that's okay. But they don't have a lot of depth at safety. That's why Chin was a priority today for the Raiders to get something done. We're brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group. Man, I was driving in Florida. Every billboard was what else? Defense attorney. The brothers, they just put up their billboards, brothers win. Very humble guys. Just say the brothers win, the brothers got your back, brotherswin.com. If you get into an accident, hopefully you don't, but if you do, the DeCastroverde brothers will help you. 702-222-9999 is their number. Tell them I sent you.
It's the morning tailgate.
All right, everybody. How are we doing? Still got a nice crowd in here, so I'm going to keep it in here. Greenlaw still hasn't landed anywhere. Jeremy Chin, man, he was a good-looking player, man. I'm going to push back on you, Big D. I don't know, man. The Raiders just got Geno. I mean, you can get a quarterback, but, I mean, I don't know what you want. You're basically saying go get a backup quarterback to Geno, and I keep saying that's Aiden O'Connell. So if the Raiders wanted to move on from Aiden O'Connell for another backup quarterback, that really doesn't rock my boat. All right, our poll question my son put up. How you feel about Geno Smith? Win 58%, gotta see 34%, loss 4%. Let's extend them 2%.
We have a couple of minutes for something. The Max 12 is coming.
Okay.
Everyone knows that hard work deserves a fitting reward. A Pilsner style lager with a crisp, clean taste. The most massive madness party in Vegas comes to the South Point, March 20th through the 22nd.
I sure get a lot of spam. Do you guys get spam on emails, man? God, man, it just.
Entry is free. Parking is free. This party is only at the South Point. Doors at 8 a.m. Must be 21.
Backing down has never been an option for our family. Our father battled communism in Cuba before coming to the U.S. and studying law at night. Today,
I'm going to give you a Resorts World for Andrew Paul.
Okay. Treat clients and families. We bring you the very best legal team to fight for you. It's our heritage. It's the DeCastroverde way. We're the DeCastroverde brothers, and we have your back. BrothersWin.com.
Tacos and Tamales debuts at Clark County's newly built event center at Desert Breeze Park for a 3-day grand opening celebration.
St. Patty's Day coming up. Wow.
My daughter's birthday.
Nice.
Parks and Recreation for 3 days of Tacos and Tamales featuring music, art, carnival, lucha libre, and more. Sponsored by Estrella Jalisco, Finley Chevrolet, CW Las Vegas, MyLB TV, and News 3.
4 minutes Thursday. Call.
Great cities are built on strong foundations. The skilled members of Laborers Local 872 never stop building. The asphalt on our roads, the concrete in our buildings, the solar fields powering the economy, and everything in between.
Steelers are going to talk with Aaron Rodgers. What does that mean? Like, they want to talk with him. Like what? They want to put some rules in place? LU was at Mandalay Bay and you went to La Casa Cigars. Thank you for doing that. Bring back Amari Cooper. I wouldn't mind that. If Amari Cooper was a good price, I would not mind Amari Cooper back with the Raiders. Not at all. Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers, and Brock Bowers, fine with that.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIY wires. Fannindale Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stock with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. Make Fannindale Industrial Hardware fast, easy, and built for the pros.